hello, and welcome to a new show that we got planned for you guys. We're calling it TB3 University, and this is our show, our episodes where we're talking only college sports. So we're looking back at last year, and as the summer months turned into fall, the episodes turned into 3-hour episodes, and we get that for some of you guys, when you see 3 hours next to a YouTube video, that's very intimidating. So what we're doing is all our college sports content, so USF, UF, FSU, our miscellaneous thoughts on the other teams, that's going to be on this show, TB3 University, TB3U for short. Got a bunch of content coming out for Instagram and stuff like that. So you are tuned into our college show. If you're looking for Tampa Bay sports, that's our last episode, TB3 episode 52. We talked Rays and Bucks in that episode, so you can go back and watch that one. This is going to be college sports, and this is going to be a full season preview for the three main teams of the Tampa Bay area. And we'll start with the USF Bulls.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bulls. Just want to say we listen to you, the fans. We're giving you 2 episodes a week, so now you can hear us 2 times a week. You won't have to miss a beat and wait a long week for just 1 episode. Breaking it down, making it easy for you guys. But let's get into it, man, because we are all in on the USF South Florida.
How all in are we? Tell them well.
We're all in because we are season ticket holders.
Yeah.
We are season ticket holders of the USF Bulls because you know what? Actions speak louder than words, baby. And if you want to listen to the most in-depth, the most fan opinionated show, it's this one right here. We're so big of fans. We're going to every single game. We're going to be there supporting rain, sleet, or shine. We're going to be there. We're all in on the Bulls, baby. So we're locked in more than ever. We are the biggest Bull fans. We only talk about the Bulls here. Probably the best Bulls show in the nation.
Yeah, we love the Bulls, baby.
We love them. And this is such an exciting season. I think this is the best time because, look, Tampa Bay is a melting pot. There's a lot of different fan bases. It makes me mad because it should be Bucks, Bulls, and Rays. But yet some of you guys have to have fans of other teams. And maybe you're in the middle where you go, oh, well, I don't have a college team. College football, CFB 25 came out. It's a fun game. I love playing it. I don't really have a college team to root for. I live in the Tampa Bay area. Or maybe you like the Bucks, you're living in Alaska or something, and you want a college team to root for there too. Well, it is time to get on the USF Bulls bandwagon. There's never been a better time.
No.
Never. This team is so exciting. Second-year head coach Alex Golesh leads the way. Let's go back to last year. The USF Bulls started off the season a lot of unknowns, man. A lot of people were hating on Golesh before it even started, saying this was a bad hire. This now we wanted Coach Prime. Well, you know what? Coach Prime and the Buffs, they went 4-8. Alex Golesh led this team to a 7-6 season with a huge blowout bowl win in the Boca Raton Bowl against a Power 5 Syracuse, 45-0. They laid the whooping on them, and it was embarrassing. This USF team is ready to go and have another awesome season, and a lot of people are talking. There's a lot of rumbles. This could be a playoff dark horse. This could be a team that wins the ACC and nobody sees it coming. But you know what? Here on TB3, TB University, TBU, whatever you'd like to call it, we believe in the Bulls. We believe this could be a very special year. So come on, join the ride. This is going to be fun. And I guess we'll start talking about some new faces, some familiar faces. You got your head coach Alex Golesh, offensive coordinator Joel Gordon, defensive coordinator Todd Orlando. This team last year went 7-6. Their offense averaged 31.9 points a game, 451.6 offensive yards per game. They were on fire, okay? This was a great offense. We'll get to some of the players. Their defense, 32 points allowed per game and 432.5 yards allowed per game. So that was a little bit concerning, the defense. But I think when we look at the offseason, the Bulls had the best recruiting class in the ACC, the American Athletic Conference, what they played in. They had probably, I wouldn't say a huge transfer portal class. I know the big thing is the portal kings, the NIL deals, who can get the most guys. But sometimes quantity is not as good as quality. And I think this year the Bulls went way more on quality over quantity.
I mean, there's no denying they gained more than they lost in the transfer portal. And that's mostly because of the culture that was built up by Coach Golesh and the guys around there. This is still a mid-major. Group of 5 team. Mid-major was disrespectful. A group of 5 team. There was a lot of talent on this team, like Will said, being a Power 5 team in the year, going to a bowl game, a lot of electricity when it comes, especially to this offense. A lot of people could have, got up and left and gone to a bigger school probably and maybe vied for some of those spots. But the culture is built up, the potential is there, the playoff is expanded. People want to be in Tampa. They want to come to the Bay and they want to stay in the Bay.
Stay in the Bay.
This is an exciting time for USF football because it could have gone really bad after a really up and coming season, just with how the portal is these days, and it didn't. Great recruiting class, really solid transfer class coming in, and not many people lost. So I'm excited, just to see some of these players that are on the team right now.
Yeah, and I think we'll get into it because if you're a Bulls fan listening, we'll go in depth a little bit, but really this is advertisement to you, the listener. Maybe you're waiting for when we talk about the Gators and the Seminoles later on in the show, but this is our advertisement to you. There's no reason not to support the Bulls, especially if you have a 727 or 813 area code. There is no reason not to support this team. So we want to kind of give you a little dive into the team, some guys to look out for, some of the stars, so you can help you follow along. And we'll talk about them. Maybe you can come up with a fan favorite. I know we all have one.
Oh, we do.
Sure. We definitely do. But anyways, this offense, we'll start with the offense. This offense is led by your quarterback, number 17, Byron Brown, 6'3", 209 pounds. He has a cannon of an arm, and he can run like the wind, baby. Last year, he threw for 3,292 yards with 26 touchdowns. There was kind of a quarterback battle last year with him and Gary Bohannon, who has since transferred. Byron Brown has won the job last year, and he ran off with it. I'd say he got better every single game, and by the end of it, man, he was looking like probably the best quarterback in all of Group of 5, in my opinion. And in my opinion this year, he should be the best quarterback in the Group of 5. And that might be bold to some, but that's how I feel because he's a dual threat, and he's got an arm like a missile. So look out for him. I think probably the most underrated running back in all of college football happens to be on this USF Bulls roster, and that is Naquan Wright. Used to be, for what school?
The Gators.
He used to be a Florida
Wheel
Gator.
route legend in the Dan Mullen offense.
Yeah, this guy had made some plays for the Gators, but he finds himself at USF. Last season, 709.
I feel like he's playing college football for 10 years.
It's been a minute.
I was surprised he was
It's
still
been
on
a
the
minute.
team.
But this guy, he's a dog. Watch his film against Alabama last season. That's all you'll need to know. This guy's a dog. I'm hoping we're going to see a lot more touches from him. Last year, there was a pretty high-flying offense, a lot of great receivers. But I think this year I'd like to see him slow it down, use some more Naquan Wright. That running back room is packed, though. Quan Powell, the backup, he also can run like the wind. He's going to be a solid guy. And then the transfer from Western Kentucky, Teron Keith, he can also run the ball extremely well. And that's not also to mention they got Kelly Joyner. That is probably their strongest room on the whole team. Maybe receiver, but running back is pretty strong. Then we go to receiver. My man, the best player in all of college football. That's number 38, Sean Atkins. Remember the name, folks. Remember the name, Sean Atkins. He's a gym rat. He's gritty. His nose is stuffed in the playbook and the academics, man. He's a smart guy, student of the game. This guy's your best wide receiver. 1,054 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think one thing that he's improved most on from last season to this, what he's been working on, is being that big play factor, getting those explosive, taking the top off the defense. I'm looking forward to see him make even more plays than he did last year, and he was all over the place. So look out for Sean Atkins. You got a stacked wide receiver room. Naeem Simmons, transfer from Purdue, Abdur Rahim Yassin. Okay, that's one name I'm excited. Transfer from Purdue. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. This is kind of your deep threat guy that the Bulls are looking for. I'm really excited to see what he can do. He could be a nice piece. And again, there's guys all around this room. I think another big name to look at is Joshua Cobbs, man. He's a transfer from Houston. Didn't really fit in well with that system over there. But from what the coaches are saying, they're really excited to see what this guy can do. So look out for that. Tight ends, you got Weston Wolf, Gunnar Greenwald, Jonathan Eccles. I mean, that's going to be a fun room. Anything you guys got on offense? Anything I missed?
I think that wide receiver room might be the best group on the team, man. That is a stacked group. You kind of have all the boxes checked for what you need. I mean, Sean Atkins, great route runner, can work the middle of the field. Then you have kind of the burners and Naeem Simmons and Rahim Yassin, or how do you say it?
Abdur Rahman Yassin. I messed it up.
Yassin.
I have dyslexia. Abdur Rahman Yassin.
So you see him and now you don't. So
yeah, that was good.
I was cooking
that was
that
good
one in my head. But yeah, I think that wide receiver room is really, really stacked up. So I'm excited to see, just with the tempo offense and the distributor and Byron Brown, it's going to be an electric offense this year.
Yeah,
I think the story is what we're going to kind of get into, and that's the trenches, both sides.
It's going to be a defense. Yeah, just one quick thing. I mean, this is a potent offense. Total yards per game, they were 17th in the FBS. Rushing yards per game, 33rd. Passing yards, 32nd, and points per game, 33rd. So this was a very dangerous offense throughout the entire FBS last year. And they have a lot of returning faces, so I think the strongest part of this team is your offense. When we go to the defense, man, this is where we get to be a little concerned. Because last year, you look at the stats, man, and it was not pretty. USF, as far as defense here, points per game allowed, 102nd in the FBS. Total yards per game allowed, 118th. Rushing yards per game, that was probably their best. Well, definitely was their best. 49th in FBS. But then passing yards per game, 132nd. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, I think there's 133 teams in FBS. So they were either last or second to last.
Yeesh.
It was bad. But, they still have some dogs. The transfers are going to come in and help. We look at your defensive line here to start. Defensive end Jason Vaughn, last year, 2.5, two tackles for loss. Your interior is going to be your strongest guys. You got Doug Blue Eli.
Big fella.
Yeah, big fella, number 0. Rashad Cheney as your other D tackle. They're going to be your strongest part of the D line. DJ Harris at the edge on the other side. I think another guy to watch out for is Emmanuel Hickman. He can back up and get a lot of reps there at a defensive tackle. And then a big transfer edge, Jalen Pettis from Iowa Western. He had 17.5 tackles for loss there at a JUCO route. So we're looking for him. I think the weakest part of this team is the secondary, and we'll get to that, but it always helps when you have a strong... Your secondary can get a lot better if you have a good defensive line. If they can get to the quarterback, get the quarterback off their game, have them make some bad throws or not have enough time, and then that secondary will play a lot better. So I'm looking for this defensive line to step up. Then we go to linebackers here. You got DJ Gordon, the 4th. He's a dog. And then, this is the USF Bulls. This is their Levante David. This is Jalen Shallur, 8.5 tackles for loss, 97 tackles. Isn't
it Schuler?
Schuler.
I think it's Schuler.
Schuler. He's looking to lead the way. This is the sole leader of USF Bulls defense. Hopefully we're gonna see some all conference, maybe some national awards. This guy's an absolute dog, and it's great the USF Bulls got him back. Then we go to the secondary, man. Safety, you got Logan Berryhill, Jalen Stokes, your DBs, Amaris Brown. That's one that we're happy he came back. Hopefully he'll have a really good season. You got Tavon Ward and DeMarco Austin. But again, this is the position group, man, where it's like you need some guys to step up in there. That's probably the weakest part of their team. Obviously, the rest of your defense can help boost those guys, but this is the position group you want to watch out the most for.
But you do have a lot of experience in that or in that position group. You have players that played last year that kind of went through the fire, and hopefully they come out on the other side better off for it. I think this could end up being a really solid secondary. I really do think this is going to be a much improved USF Bulls defense. I think it's just a lot deeper, a lot more talented, and just they're going to have a better, footing underneath them, because this was a lot of young players on that defense last year. A lot of new players. USF was in a really bad spot before Coach Golesh, so
they were 1-11.
Yeah, so it's definitely going. I think it was a tough year for that secondary, but I think that experience is going to help them have a much better year this year.
And last year, the offense had to carry the team, so if the defense can come alongside with that, we're going to be flying.
Yeah, even just a half somewhat decent
A
defense.
good
You don't have to be the
defense, and
best.
it's a special season. A good, not a great defense.
I think
a good defense.
Decent, good, however you want
Yeah.
to call it. That's all you need to do, and this USF team knows no limits of how far they can go as far as success this season. But that's really your roster breakdown, guys. Look out for these guys. Pick a favorite player. Comment down below. Pick your favorite player who you're looking out for this season. Maybe it's somebody we didn't mention that you think will turn up this year. Maybe it's just your favorite guy, like Sean Atkins is for me. So
yeah,
I think
before we get into the schedule and maybe our game by game predictions, I feel like I have just a couple storylines just as you look at this USF season for maybe to go one way or the other, because we got high expectations for these Bulls, but still the second year of Coach Golesh. They still were a 7-6 team last year. It wasn't like a 9-3 or 10-2. They haven't gotten double-digit wins in years. So high expectations, but they still have some things that have to go right. I think the first and most important thing is Byron Brown was really good last year. He still has to take a step forward. He has to be someone who is, if you really want to go where you want to go, Byron Brown has to be top 10 in Heisman. And he has all the capability of doing that. He has all the talent. Over 4,000 yards total last year, but he has to be able to cut down on the turnovers a little bit, improve on his pocket passing just a little bit, and I think he has all the capability, and I think he will, but he still has to take a step forward, so you got to watch out for Byron Brown to be that elite Group of 5 quarterback that leads to the magical run that we've seen in the past for a bunch of Group of 5 teams. And then obviously we talked about the defense has to get more consistent. They have to at least go from allowing 30-plus points to 25 points a game. They have to become a consistently decent to good defense to make the jump that they're able to make.
And we saw it at times. Again, you look at the bowl game, 45-zip.
Yeah.
A shutout in any level is immaculate. You look at the Alabama game, what that defense was able to do. And Alabama was in the CFP, y'all.
Yeah.
They're in the CFP, and USF probably gave them the best defensive game anybody did that entire season.
Absolutely. And then you look up, starting off, the Bulls have a really tough first half of their schedule. A lot of really big games, some of the biggest games that USF has had in a while. You look at the Alabama and Miami games, obviously you circle those on your calendar, but then you have big conference games. You have Memphis, you have Tulane in the early part of the schedule. The USF Bulls have to come out of the gates hot, or their playoff hopes or their AAC hopes might be over before they even get rolling. So a hot start is important, and I don't want to be this guy, but USF has to prove that they can beat good teams. USF has not beaten a team that has finished the season with a winning record since 2019. Not a single team they beat last year finished with a winning record. Obviously, Syracuse was 6-6, and they ended up 6-7. That's a solid win. They got some solid wins last year, USF did, but you've got to be able to close out games. I look at the Memphis game last year. I look at the Alabama game last year. Even the UAB game. You have to be able to close out games against good teams in order to be a good team, in order to be a double-digit win type team, in order to be a team that's competing for the AAC championship. You've got to be able to be good teams. And we're going to see that early on. The USF has, their 4 hardest games in their first 6 or so weeks. So I'm excited to watch these Bulls play. But as Will goes,
yeah, I mean, just to go, just kind of to back up what you're saying there is, I completely agree. This is a tough schedule. I mean, there's no way of sugarcoating it. It is definitely a tough schedule if you're a USF Bulls fan looking at it. A lot of big games. But I think one thing to clear up, I think we have a lot of expectations for the Bulls. And I believe, and I think my 2 buddies here believe as well, that this team has the potential to do something very special this year. But I wouldn't necessarily say it should be a disappointment if they don't. This team was 1-11 2 years ago. They were 7-6 last year. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done when you're talking about the job that Alex Golesh has to do in totally shifting the culture around this team and producing a winning program, not just for 1 year, but sustainability for years to come. Bringing in guys who buy into the program, your core guys, your guys who'll be through the program, years 1 through 3. You got to build up a bunch of stuff. Change the way that the fans see the team, how they live on campus, how they interact on campus. I know there's stuff in the works. They're building a stadium. That's going to be huge. So it takes a lot to build a program. So even if the Bulls necessarily don't go to the top, they don't make the CFP, hey, come on, guys, it's going to be hard to do. Just about 1 group of 5 team gets in. Lucky if there's 2. Don't count this as a disappointment if they don't do bad. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, though, I still believe. I think this is going to be a fun year. And like I said at the beginning, this is going to be the year you want to start getting invested in South Florida football. But we get to the schedule, and we're going to go game by game. Here we go. First game, August 31st, 7 p.m. at Raymond James Stadium is Bethune-Cookman. This is the FCS school.
I want to know. Just want to know.
Want to know.
We don't got to share.
I think we're going to want to know.
Yeah.
This team 3-9 last year in the FCS level. They couldn't beat any FCS teams, so that should be an easy one for USF. They go 1-0. Next game, September 7th, 7 p.m. in Tuscaloosa at Alabama.
This one's cruelty. Like that early on.
It's tough that it's early, but I don't know, man.
That might help.
It might help.
Yeah.
Look, Kalen DeBoer is a good coach, but you just, if you're Alabama, you lost the greatest coach of all time, greatest coach in college football history. Nick Saban's gone. It might take a while for this team to fully buy into him. It could be a couple weeks. I know they got a lot of talent, but there's a lot of stuff that could take place. And you look at how USF played them last year, man. Oh, you got to have some hope going in there. I'm not saying USF could win that game, but man, I'm feeling hopeful at least.
Yeah,
I'm feeling hopeful.
It'll be a ball game.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a ball game for sure.
I say we'll predict at the end here. We'll just kind of talk through it. Then you got September 14th at Southern Mississippi. Not a very good team. They got Tate Rodemaker from Florida State. I don't even know if he started, to be honest with you. But I'm feeling confident about that game. Then your schedule ramps up. This is a gauntlet here. This next slew of 3 games. September 21st at home versus Miami. I think that's a win. How I feel right now, that's a win. Miami, they have all the recruits. They have all the 5 stars. They have Mario Cristobal, who was successful at Oregon. But what has Miami done, man? What have they done? Nothing. And until they prove to me that they are a top 25 team and have really turned the table, I have no faith in Miami. This game, though, gets tough. Tulane. At Tulane, September 28th. I know their head coach left. A lot of guys left. A lot of their talent graduated. I saw Michael Pratt playing for the Packers the other day, so that was kind of interesting. But this is still going to be a tough game. They actually had the best transfer portal class out of all group of 5. They got a couple dogs. I think they got a wide receiver from USC, another one from Alabama. So they still have some talent on this team. This is no sleeper of a game, so just be careful for that one. A lot of people are saying, Tulane's done. They lost all these guys. Well, no, they still got a talented roster.
Where did the coach go? Houston? Is he Houston?
Houston, yeah, I believe so. which is a weird. That's a lateral move in my opinion.
Yeah, they're Power 5 now. They're Big 12.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good hire for Houston, man. He's a good coach.
Then we get to October 11th on a Friday, 7 p.m. at home versus Memphis. A lot of people are talking about that this is kind of the team of destiny for the AAC this year. They got a talented roster, but I'm feeling pretty confident about that one. If I'm
people love their quarterback, man.
They love Memphis, but
yeah.
I don't know if I love Memphis that much. I really don't. Then we go at home, University of Alabama, Birmingham. This needs to be a win. You got to beat these suckers. I know you lost to them last year, but
don't let it happen again.
Don't let it happen again.
Trent Dilfer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Same thing the week after that, November 1st at Florida Atlantic. They're our rivals now, basically. They talk a lot of trash on Twitter. I guess that, like, Linsanity Final Four run made them think they were good at every other sport, but they're not. I know this is, again, a team that beat USF last year. Well, USF was celebrating a bowl win on their stadium. They were sitting on the couch eating potato chips. And this team especially, I mean, as far as production from this year to from last year to this year, they like lost the most out of any team. So that should be a win. Navy, salute the troops, man. November 9th, you better win that game. Then we go at Charlotte, November 16th. Is Coach Biff still there?
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Because remember, like when Harbaugh got caught cheating, he was like, "I'll coach for him any day. I'll drop what I'm doing right now." It's like, dude, you're a coach of a other program.
Oh, Coach Biff, man.
You gotta love him. He's a national treasure.
What a guy.
Yeah, but that's an easy win, in my opinion. Then last home game of the year to close out November 23rd. That will be at home versus Tulsa. Again, not a lot there. I'm not seeing a lot there. Not seeing why this shouldn't be a win as well. Then you get to Rice, November 29th, a Friday at Rice. What is Rice? As you'd say, it's a team in Texas, I guess. McCaffrey guy went there, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
They had JT Daniels last year.
Oh, they did.
USF. That was probably USF's best win, I would say. Was Rice at home, because they had some playmakers, but they probably lost all of them.
Yeah, well, I don't know. This one I'm a little worried about, depending how the season goes, because I know Rice is kind of flies under the radar, but their defense is pretty solid, and a lot of those guys return this year. I would circle this one because you don't want to get caught in a snooze fest here. Depending on how the rest of your season goes, maybe you're fighting for a spot in the conference championship. This is a trap game, in my opinion. So you better lock it in play, because I think they could surprise some people. Rice could be a decent team. But that's all your games. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, right? 12?
Yeah, it's college football. It's 12.
Sometimes they play like 13 or 11.
They haven't changed that yet.
Sometimes they play like 13 or 11 or whatever.
Only bowl games.
UTEP plays like 11.
Really?
Yeah, and it's 4 home games and 7 away games.
That's brutal.
So it could happen. I just had to count to make sure. I didn't want to say 12 confidently and be wrong. Anyways, time to predict, y'all. Time to predict. Joel, what do you think the USF Bulls record will be by
I'm looking at this positively. Like, I don't know, you guys would be like, that's not positive.
And you can even go game by game and say who's winning, which are they winning,
Big Dogs probably will take them down, but with that, I'm gonna say they go 8-4.
Okay.
8-4.
Any specific? So you think Miami?
I think they'll lose to Alabama.
Miami's a loss.
Memphis, they'll probably lose. Miami, we'll go Miami in that, and then they'll probably lose an accidental game in there.
Yeah, that stretch, the final half of their season does kind of stress me out, because it's a lot of winnable games, very winnable games, and it could get a little sleepy. I hope that USF is able to, put themselves at 1 or 2 losses at that point for their second half of the season, where you're playing for something every single week. Like, you can't go down and lose your conference championship hopes. That would make that last half of the season less of a feel-good story and more of crucial games needing to win. And I would say that would make it less likely for them to get upset. I'm gonna go a little.
I mean, 8-4 is
8-4 is good.
Though.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I think that's a reasonable thing. I am stuck between two records, and I was a positive guy last year with USF. I said they were going to go 6-6.
I think I said they'd go like 1 win, so
yeah,
I'm improving on this one.
yeah. I said 6-6, and I was right. I think I'm going to say 9-3. I was between 9-3 and 10-2. I'm going to say 9-3. I think Alabama is a loss. And when push comes to shove, I think they're going to lose 2 out of the 3 games in the Miami, Tulane, Memphis stretch. I think Tulane might just be a loss, unfortunately, on the road. I think it's going to be a really tough, good atmosphere, tough game. And also, if you beat Miami, I think that might even make it worse for your chances to beat Tulane on the road. And then Memphis is at home. So I think you win one of those home games, but you lose the other 2. And then I think the second half they will take care of business, and they'll win a pretty nice little bowl game and go 10-3 at the end of the day. But 9-3 regular season record.
Yeah, I'm on the exact same page as you. I'm thinking 9-3. Bethune-Cookman, that's an automatic lock. I'm saying they lose to Alabama now, but just wait till we get to that week when we're predicting.
Oh, he's gonna say
I'm saying USF.
Or yeah.
Southern Miss, I think that's a win as well. And you know what? I 100% think USF will beat Miami. I really do. That's my lock right now. So you're going to start out 3-1, but I think exactly what you're saying. I think that win's going to make it worse, and they're going to lose to Tulane the next week. I think they beat Memphis, actually, at home. There's no reason they shouldn't. But I'm not certain on the game, but I just think there's too many winnable games where one of them's a loss. I could even see, like I said, Rice being that loss at the end of the year, a trap game. Even FAU, they just get the best of them again. Although I'm not positive. UAB is another one, but I think solid 9-3 season. But they will definitely beat Miami, in my opinion.
All right.
But there you have it, guys. Make sure follow the Bulls, man. Come on. What more do I have to do? I'm begging you.
What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? Now's the time to do it, because when this Bulls team is competing for championships. Maybe even they're in Power 5, Power 2, Power 3. Who knows? I don't want to hear about how you're on the bandwagon now. It's time to start now.
Do it.
Not later, now.
Come on, guys.
Because we don't want you then. We want you now.
We want you right now. We want you, and it doesn't. We have Florida and Florida State fans on this panel. Rooting for the Bulls has no effect on it. It's just another team. It's a feel-good story. It's not anyone's rival. Shoot, USF's playing your rival this year. They're playing Miami. That's even more reason to root for if you're a Florida or a Florida State fan. That's even more reason to root for USF. You want them to be good so they can beat Miami and Tampa. But speaking of those other teams, that's our Bulls talk. That's in depth. We have 2 other teams we cover, but less in depth because this is a Bulls talk, Bulls podcast.
It is Bulls first,
Yes.
but we know the masses. It's the state divided. Florida State. We also have a hierarchy here. USF Bulls, they always come first. They will always be the first thing we talk about. And then it's who's better, Florida State. That's how we will decide who goes last.
It's not who's
we
better.
save the
It's
best.
who won the game last year. Okay.
Which means who's better.
No.
We
There
save
was
the best
not
for
a
last.
rock, paper, scissors
Right now,
competition going in
Florida
the
State
background.
is the best. So if you're still waiting on them, it'll be at the end of the show. You can just skip past the Gators stuff.
But we're gonna
whatever, here we go.
okay, yeah. Well, we're gonna not as in depth, but Florida Gators, they come off a 5-7 season. Their third losing season in a row. They're looking to not make it 4th, but the Florida Gators have the hardest schedule in the entire nation. They play a gauntlet of a schedule. I'll just pull it up for you guys because it is brutal. They start off at home against Miami, not as brutal. Then they have Samford, and then Texas A&M at home, ranked team. Miami's a ranked team. Mississippi State on the road. UCF at home. Then it starts to get real. Tennessee, ranked team on the road. Kentucky at home. Florida Georgia in Jacksonville. Texas on the road, top 4 team. LSU at home. Ole Miss at home, ranked team. Florida State on the road, another ranked team. You heard that correctly. That is 8 ranked teams in the preseason AP poll that the Florida Gators are playing out of 12 games. Gauntlet of a schedule, but Billy Napier has done a good job of rebuilding the talent that Dan Mullen neglected to build. And this is kind of a make or break year for Billy. And I feel bad because, this is a tough schedule to have a make or break year, but you got to win some games. And the way this team's going to win games is just kind of by their depth and overall improvement of the team. This defense, they lost some players. Princely, I'm not saying his last name. I never can say it right. Some people to the draft, stuff like that. This defense still brought in a lot of talent from the transfer portal. They did a really good job, brought in some 5 stars, good recruiting class, and they have a lot of starters coming back. So this defense should do a better job, especially in stopping the run game, which was one of the worst seasons ever for a Florida Gator to run defense of all time in 2023. Then the offense, who's leading it? It's Graham Mertz. Had some questions about him coming into last year, but he kind of blew all expectations out of the water, had a really, really good year, and he came back for his super senior season. And we're looking for him to have an even better year, control that offense, be the leader that this team needs, have a little bit of that swagger that he has. Yeah, so that's what it is. A lot of really talented people in the position groups. Montrell Johnson has been a leading rusher. You don't have Trevor Etienne anymore, but Montrell Johnson can hold the running back room.
Where'd he go?
He went to DUI University. And then on the receiver group, you have Eugene Wilson. My goodness, Eugene Trey Wilson, I love you. This guy is electric. He is a Percy Harvin type. He is going to have a great, great season. And then you brought in some transfers, DK from Wisconsin and Elijah Badger from Arizona State. We know how Arizona State players in Florida as a receiver works out. Look at Ricky Pearsall. So good position group for receivers and running backs. Defensive line and offensive line should be a little bit better, more experienced, hoping to win the trenches more often than the Gators did last year. But I'll point to you guys. Any initial thoughts before we start predicting this Gator schedule?
Who's your head coach going to be next year?
Oh.
And I feel,
Urban Meyer.
I genuinely feel bad. I feel bad. I hate Florida with the passion, but I feel bad. It's a tough schedule, man. What can you do? But I just think, I don't think Billy Napier was ever the right guy. I think you should have kept Dan Mullen. I think one bad season did not define him.
He was getting recruit anyone.
He was getting you to New Year's Six Bowl.
He did not recruit anyone.
But recruits, at the end of the day, recruits don't matter if you can't coach them.
He just wasn't. He literally.
If they transfer all away the next year, what does it matter?
I love Dan Mullen's offense and what he did with the Gators, and I thought he had the right attitude, but he didn't recruit anyone, and he just was not going to field a team with enough talent in the SEC. He was relying too much on the transfer portal, which maybe would have worked out.
But I think that's kind of been the move for some teams.
That kind of has been the move. We'll see, but I'm just saying, if he could have recruited, any effort in recruiting, he would still be the coach. And I still don't know if it was the right decision, but I'm just saying. It was hard to vouch for Dan Mullen when he wouldn't recruit anyone.
I'll die on this hill, man. I'll die on this hill. The Gators made a mistake, and now they're going to pay for it big time because Billy Napier has proven he is not the right coach. The SEC is too much for him, and it's going to be a tough year. I hate to say it's going to be a tough year for the Gators.
There's just something I really like about Billy Napier. Like, even if they go have a losing season, I hope they keep him. I love him.
I don't see why you'd want to.
If they have a losing season, get him out of here.
I like him. I'd be sad.
He's a likable guy. He has good press conferences and stuff. But there's a lot of.
Seems like he's a jerk.
The media. No, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but he's a Southern nice guy. But he has not done himself any favors. He is still going to be the play caller this year. So hoping to see some improvement. He definitely. Yeah, he's going to have to improve because play calling has been one of his weakest things that he's done as a Gator head coach, and he shook up his coaching staff around him just a little bit. He hired a special teams guy. He did that, so that's a good thing. But yeah, Billy Napier, to make or break season, you have to go to a bowl game to keep your job, which sucks. It's going to be hard to go to a bowl game.
Looking at their schedule, they're going to be on at least a 5-game losing streak by the end of it. So there's no way he's sticking around.
Well,
they're not going to.
We're hoping maybe they can get a game or two in those last 5 games.
Hopefully.
So we'll start there. We don't have to go. It's preview. Joel, what is your record prediction for the Florida Gators?
I'm gonna flip my Bulls. I'm going 4-8 on them.
That's not even a bad take. Because the schedule is so dang hard.
It is.
I hate to do this.
It's so scary.
I hate to do this, but I'm 100% behind Joel. It's 4-8, but mine might be the worst way possible because I think, the biggest game of the year in all of college football might be August 31st, Miami versus Florida. It's two coaches with the hottest of hot seats ever, and somebody's gonna have to win. And I think this win will define whoever's season really. Maybe the Gators could have a ceiling of 6-6. A huge win would do them right, winning against Miami, but you never know though because Miami stinks, so it might not mean anything. But I think they beat Miami. They started off 1-0. Samford,
I know exactly
easy
where
win.
you're going.
2-0.
Evil.
Texas A&M 3-0. Mississippi State 4-0. And the Gators, they're probably ranked 17th in the nation. But then I think that's when UCF comes to town. KJ Jefferson, he knows a little thing or two about playing well in the swamp. And I think UCF, they've had quietly a very good recruiting class and some transfer portal guys. I think that's a win. Tennessee might get their revenge. I think that Nico Amaleva, whatever his name is, he kind of seems like the truth. Kentucky, this could be
Joe
a win.
Milton clone.
Nah, this guy's better for sure. Joe Milton. Actually, though, I was going to say Joe Milton stinks, but he's looking good with the Patriots, so.
When it's real football, he'll fold.
Probably. I can agree with that. Kentucky seems like a win, but I'm just not positive.
Just say the Gators are going on an 8-game losing.
They're going on an 8-game losing streak,
But
I think, to end the year.
Isn't Kentucky on like a really long winning streak versus the Gators?
3 games.
It feels like so much longer.
Yeah,
Like every time we play,
Florida had like a 25-game winning streak against Kentucky. It was something crazy up until recent years.
Yeah, I guess if I were to pick a win out of those 8 losses, it would definitely be Kentucky. But I just don't see at Texas. Ole Miss could be scary good this year. At Florida State, heck no. At Tennessee, that's possible. Like again, I think this the Gators could somehow sneak away with 6 wins this season, but I don't have any faith in Billy Napier. I don't. That's why I'm saying 4-8.
Well, the moment you've been waiting for my Florida Gators fans. I think this is a substantially better team than last year. I think up and down, the roster is much better. There's playmakers all over the offense. I really, truly believe that. Great transfer class. Billy Napier didn't start great, lost some people, but he finished strong, had a good recruiting class, finished the deal on a couple 5-stars, which was huge, especially LJ McCray, went to the right Florida school. And I really do think first game in the swamp, I think Florida's going to get the best of Miami. I think Miami's always ranked high. Cam Ward is an experienced quarterback, which does scare me a little bit going on the road. You kind of want that road factor for a quarterback. But he's playing at Wazoo.
He's a turnover machine.
He's playing at Wazoo. He wasn't playing at the Swamp, unfortunately, for him. And then Samford is obviously going to be a win. And I do really feel good about that Texas A&M game. And I think the Gators are going to start off 5-0. I really do. I definitely see UCF as a KJ Jefferson revenge, like a Florida revenge game towards KJ Jefferson. I think if I was to say a game that Florida might lose in his first 5, I think it might be Texas A&M. I think that Florida never plays good against A&M, and that kind of just screams a random win. But I think the Gators will start off 5-0, and unfortunately that is not great. They need to go 5-0, but then they'll get ranked high, and then it'll get all scary. So I don't think they'll win that game on the road against Tennessee. I just don't see it. I was thinking about going to that game maybe. We'll see. I would love to pull that one off. But Tennessee, I just don't see that one being a win unless this quarterback is really being overhyped. But road game's hard. I do think Florida snaps their losing streak against Kentucky. And that would be 6-1 right there. So, and then it does, I think, Georgia and Texas, their losses, neutral site against probably one of the best teams in the nation in Georgia. And then on the road against Texas, a college football playoff team last year. Don't feel great about that. First SEC game. And then I look at these last 3, and I think the Gators are going to get one out of these. And if I were to tell you which game I think they'll get, I really want to say they're going to be FSU, but road game is tough. I think they can get this LSU game. And that puts them at 7-5, and it's probably the most encouraging 7-5 you can have. So I would say the Gators will go 7-5 this year. Keep it brief on FSU. Don't meet right, all right?
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. You know what? Let's get to the Florida State Seminoles. This is your back-to-back Sunshine State Showdown champs. We own Miami. We own Florida. We own the entire state of Florida. We are the best school in the country. ACC champs, undefeated season. And we're back, and we're better than ever. Despite all the turmoil, despite the snub and the stupid old rich white men who don't know a lick of football and are just voting with their dollar, despite all that, Florida State had a great transfer portal class, a great recruiting class, 4 stars and 5 stars across the board. They really strengthened an already talented roster. And a lot of people think, man, oh, but you lost Keon, you lost Jordan Travis, you lost Johnny Wilson, Jakeem Bell, Trey Benson,
Jared Verse,
Braden Fisk. You lost all these guys. But at the end of the day, man, this might be the most talented roster Mike Norvell has ever had. And we'll get into it here. We got a transfer. You might have heard his name before. He played at Clemson, kind of falls off there, but has a bounce back year at Oregon State in one of the toughest conferences in all of college football. That is DJ Uiagalelei. He is in Florida State. He's back in the ACC. He's looking for some revenge. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, how do we know if he's going to be good, man? I mean, look at what he did at Clemson." Well, look what any quarterback has done at Clemson since Trevor Lawrence. It hasn't been pretty. Was Cade Klubnik the answer over DJU? I don't think so. And then you get to probably the best running back room in the entire country. That's led by Lawrence Toafili. He returns. Absolutely electric. Then you get 2 transfers here. Jalen Lucas from Indiana and Roydell Williams, that's right, from Alabama. Keisaiah Holmes. Goodness sakes, these guys are going to run the dang ball all over any team they play. And then, not to mention, true freshman Cam Davis. Look him up if you haven't seen him. Cam Davis with a K. And this looks like a grown man, 30 years old with 3 kids, 2 baby moms, man. Like, he is a grown man, and he's only a true freshman. So when the game's getting long, it's getting in that fourth quarter and teams are getting gassed, this guy's coming in fresh off the bench, and he's about to run for 60 yards in a couple of minutes. So running back room, completely scary. Then we look at receivers. This could be a concern for Florida State. You got Malik Benson, transfer from Alabama. Jaylen Brown, transfer from LSU. Ja'Kai Douglas, he returns. You got some backup guys like Deuce Spann, Hakeem Williams, Kentrell Portier. True freshman Elijah Moore, that could be the kind of star that comes out of that group as far as the young guys. So you'll see, but I'm not totally convinced that's going to be solid for them. You got tight end Kyle Morlock. Their offensive line, everybody, a bunch of returners, got a huge transfer from the University of Florida, Richie Leonard. He's going to be your starting left guard. But Mike Norvell, the head coach of Florida State, has been super big on subbing an offensive lineman out. So they're going to be, going through about 10 a game. And even the backups, 6 through 10 on the backups, their average years of experience is like 4.5 years. So this is an experienced group, and they're going to have a lot of depth. These guys are going to stay fresh. Then you go to defense, led by Patrick Payton, number 11 defensive end. Kind of in the shadow of Jared Verse last year, but he had plenty of plays himself, and he's looking to go off. Joshua Farmer turns defensive tackle. Daryl Jackson, stupid NCAA rule kept him out of playing last year, even though everybody else gets to play, but somehow he was ineligible. He'll be back. He's a transfer from Miami, and he'll be ready to go. Marvin Jones Jr., 5-star transfer. He's a legacy at Florida State. His dad, of course, Marvin Jones Jr., one of the best linebackers to play at Florida State. So that'll be interesting. Your linebackers, Cam Riley and DJ Lundy. He is, there was some concerns he was going to transfer to CU, University of Colorado University. But he changes his mind, he comes back, and that's a huge keep for the Florida State Seminoles. DJ Lundy, absolutely awesome linebacker. Your defense, your secondary, you got Fentrell Cypress returning. Shaheem Brown, he's made some great strides in camp, so look out for him. Azariah Thomas is an absolute dog. Kevin Knowles, Earl Little Jr. So this team is very good. Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the media telling you that, oh, this team isn't the same. They lost a bunch of guys. This team is still super talented. And it might not be the same type of team you saw last year because Jordan Travis could run all over you. And then, again, we had two of the greatest wide receivers to play college football last year, Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. We could throw the ball all day long. Well, that might not happen this year. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because the dynamics have changed in college football. It's no longer a bunch of idiots who decide to vote and ESPN tells them what to pick. You have a win or go home type of playoff. You win your conference, you're in. That's all you got to do. So you don't have to put up these giant scores against certain teams. So people go, well, they passed the eye test. They won by 50 this week instead of 28. So we're going to rank them 6 instead of 10. So now all you got to do is win. All you have to do is win. And I think you're going to see Mike Norvell, offensive genius, along with Alex Atkins, co-offensive coordinators there. You're going to see them change the offensive scheme that's going to fit DJU. That cat's a big cat. He's big, he's physical, he's going to run the ball. You're going to run the ball all game. And it might be some scrappy games. It might be boring. But the Seminoles are going to win more often than not. And they're going to have that strong defense coming in clutch for them. Florida State is just as dangerous as ever. Don't listen to the media hate. Everybody hates Florida State right now. It's Florida State versus the world, and that's the way we like it. Let's get into the schedule here. When you look at it, man, come on, how can you not get excited? This week, believe it or not, this week, Florida State plays a football game in Dublin, Ireland to open up the 2024 college football season against Georgia Tech. That's at 12 p.m. this Saturday, so we'll predict that in a sec. Then you go September 2nd. It's a Monday, Labor Day, Boston College at home. September 14th, USF opponent, actually, Memphis. They get Memphis at home. Mike Norvell used to coach there, believe it or not. Then you have another home game, September 21st, versus Cal, new ACC opponent. Then, then your schedule starts to heat up a little bit. September 28th, you're at SMU, which is another new ACC opponent. Then October 5th at home versus Clemson. October 18th versus Duke. October 26th at Miami. Doesn't matter, that's Doak South for all of those who are wondering. November 2nd at home versus North Carolina. November 9th at Notre Dame. November 23rd against Charleston Southern. And then November 30th at home versus little brother, the Gators. My initial thoughts on the schedule, man, and I was going back and forth, but I was just looking at it, and I'm feeling confident. You have an easy schedule, okay? Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of ACC opponents you don't have to play. You don't have to play Louisville, okay? You don't have to play NC State. Virginia Tech. Syracuse could be kind of sneaky because they did get what's-his-name. They got a pretty good coach. And what's-his-name from Ohio State, or Kyle McCord. So they could be dangerous. They had a decent transfer portal. You don't got to play them. You don't have to play Pitt. It's always a trap game. So you got away with not playing a lot of good teams. But still, it's an easy schedule. My thing with Florida State and why I became so confident as I'm looking at them, and they can get a lot of stuff wrong. They can get a lot of stuff wrong to start the season. They can tweak some things and work out some things. And really, their first test doesn't come until October 5th, and that's at home versus Clemson. So you could easily go 5-0 before you really have to face a tough opponent. And you can work out the kinks of your defense and offense and get this stuff right for the rest of the season. And with that being said, I think there's really nobody that concerns me. I thought, I was thinking about getting it up here and saying that it was going to be an 11-1 season. They would probably lose to Notre Dame or maybe Miami. And I slapped myself in the face. I slapped myself in the face because I'm like, why would I not believe in this team? Why did I not believe in Mike Norvell? Everybody wanted him gone 2 years ago. And he takes them to a bowl game, 10-win season, whoops Oklahoma. Everybody said it doesn't matter. That was just kind of a one-and-done year. The hype's over. Transfer portal is not sustainable. It's not going to work. And they go 13-0, ACC champs. So who am I to say that it's not going to be any different this year with the talent they brought in? And same thing with DJU. The questions surrounding him. Oh, is he going to be the same quarterback? Is he really that good? Man, look what Mike Norvell has been able to do. Look what he's been able to do. Nobody wanted Jordan Travis. Nobody wanted him 2 years ago. And Jordan Travis is on the NFL with the New York Football Jets. So don't tell me that Mike Norvell can't fix anything that DJ Uyunglele might have had wrong with him before coming to Florida State. I'm all in on this team. And that's why I'm saying right now, I'll be the first. I don't even want to wait. I'll be the first to tell you right now. Florida State, 12-0. 12-0 ACC champs. You can book it right now because there's nobody on this schedule. Nobody that I'm even the slightest bit concerned about anymore. I'm not. This schedule's easy. This team is talented. They're hungry. They've been wronged by the football gods and ESPN, and they're coming for blood. And it's going to be in the playoffs this year, 12-0 ACC champs. You can laugh about it all you want, but when it happens, you're going to know, guess what? Will Sturts was right again.
I've just been playing the world's smallest violin for you every time you talk about the college football.
Hey, you can keep laughing. You can keep laughing, man. But Will is going to be right again. Right again.
All right. So, Will's right. It's a very easy schedule for Florida State, and that's what happens when you play in the Atlantic Coast Conference. But I do see that, honestly, I think this weekend, call me crazy, it might be a little bit of a test. I think, you're playing a week early. Haynes King had a pretty good season last year. He's a 5-star talent. I'm not saying they're going to lose this one, but it could be a test. But that's that's really your only test. Memphis at home. Who knows, man? Memphis might give them a game, but it's at home. I feel pretty solid about Florida State winning that one. I think a little sneaky game to look at is SMU on the road. SMU is a top 25 team. I know Will's going to say that they lost in their bowl game to Boston College, but it's a bowl game. Have a month to prepare. It's a little bit different than playing in the regular season. Still think they got some talent. Obviously, Clemson, a big game. Duke on the road, don't know what that's going to look like. They lose their coach.
And Riley Leonard, their team's done.
So, I don't really feel confident.
I like their coach, though.
Okay. It was their DC, right?
There's DC at Penn State. Wasn't Mario...
Cristobal? Oh, that's their coach? Mario Cristobal. No. I know who you're talking about.
And he was the coach at Miami as well.
Yes. I know who you're talking about.
It's
Manny
Lopez.
No.
Ramirez. It is a Hispanic name.
Oh my
not
gosh,
being racist.
dude.
It's definitely Hispanic.
No, man, it's Manny. It's Manny. Oh my goodness.
Diaz.
It's Manny Diaz. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't see the same type of explosion from this FSU team on either side of the ball. I know it might be by design, might be more of a grit and grind team, but that gives you a lot less wiggle room in games that you don't have your best outing, you don't come out good, it's on the road, it's college football, anything can happen. And I think anything is going to happen twice to FSU. I think they're going to go 10-2 this year. I think Notre Dame on the road is going to be a loss. I'm pretty high. I think Notre Dame's going to have a pretty good season, and I think FSU is going to lose that one. And along the way, I think they're gonna pick up a loss to a team that you don't think they should lose to. And yeah, 10-2.
I mean, I'm a Knowles guy. I always tell you my Knowles stories from the early 2010s. So, I love them. I love them a lot. But I was teetering between 9-3 and 10-2. Will talk me into 10-2. I'm going to take 10-2. I too think Notre Dame is a loss. And
what has Notre Dame done? What have they done? What have they done to make you think they're going to beat Florida State?
It's a brand. Going into Notre Dame it's at Notre Dame.
What big wins have they had at home?
It's just going to Notre Dame at their house playing them. It's just scary. It's scary for me.
Again, what big wins have they had at home
they
against
Clemson during COVID at home?
It's
okay. So 4
years
ago with Brian Kelly.
There's something about the aura of playing Notre Dame that's scary.
Hey, that's just Joel's predictions. You can't go at Joel's predictions.
I'm just sick of hearing the Notre Dame talk. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
What has that team done? And their coach, he has been worse than Brian Kelly was, and Brian Kelly should have been fired 10 years ago.
Here's why it's scary. On ESPN, the tickets are as low as $224.
There's
Road
nothing
trip?
to do. There's nothing to do in
Road
South
trip,
Bend,
road
Indiana.
trip,
I'd
right?
Go
go.
let's take out a mortgage.
That would be
Heck
fun.
yeah, I'd go.
That would be
But there's
fun.
nothing to do in
It's
South
gonna
Bend,
be cold,
Indiana.
man. It's gonna be cold.
So
I'll-
10-2.
And
I don't know.
I'll also go ahead and say it. FSU has a game this week. I'm going to say FSU wins, but Georgia Tech's going to cover the spread. FSU is minus 11.5. Georgia Tech will lose by a touchdown.
What's the score?
Grit and grind. 24-17. Florida State.
Florida State wins 34-21.
I'll go 38-24.
All right. And real quick, we just want to do a little fun thing because this is TB3U. We're going to talk about other things because we like to yap. But, yeah. So, right now, we are looking at the AP Top 25. I'll just bang it out real quick. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Texas. Number 5, Alabama. Number 6, Ole Miss. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 8, Penn State. Number 9, Michigan. Number 10, Florida State. Number 11, Missouri. Number 12, Utah. Number 13, LSU. Number 14, Clemson. Number 15, Tennessee. 16, Oklahoma. 17, Oklahoma State. 18, Kansas State. 19, Miami. 20, Texas A&M. 21, Arizona. 22, Kansas. 23, USC. 24, North Carolina State. And 25, Iowa.
Yeah, again, the top 25 is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It means nothing.
I actually kind of hate that they do it.
It's ridiculous because the only thing they use it for is for marketing for big time games. Because the first one in the top 25 should let you know right there that it's a bunch of hogwash. Is 25 Iowa. I mean, Iowa's terrible. Iowa is horrendous, and they didn't get any better. They got Cade McNamara, and he's looking like the worst quarterback of all time. They're actually like, I mean, it's like the meme with SpongeBob in his brain, and they're like running around and it's on fire. That's what it's like at Iowa because nothing is. Their offense didn't get any better firing the offensive coordinator, and they get any better bringing in McNamara. They're still bad, and they're still trash. And the fact that they're even considered to be a top 25 team is an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment. My next gripe, of course, I believe Miami's up there, right? They're 19. Again, stupid. What have they done the last 2 years to deserve to even be in the top 25? This team has underperformed over and over again. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think you should at least play, I'd only be fine with the top 25 if you started the same week as the first playoff rankings come out.
Well, I mean, that's what
Get a real ranking.
That's the playoff. Oh, you're saying, yeah.
We don't need this.
Well, we don't.
Here
The
and
AP's
there.
irrelevant.
And because it doesn't matter at the
Yeah.
end of the day
Yeah.
anyway. Because you beat a ranked team in week 1 and they finish the season 1-11, it doesn't matter.
Goodness. Oh, I think
It doesn't matter. And this is going to be the same thing with Florida, where Florida's going to start off 4-0. They're going to get ranked immediately because they're in the
That's true.
SEC. And, when UCF beats them, it'll be, oh my goodness, UCF beat a ranked Florida team. Can you believe it? But then Florida finishes 5-7, 4-8, and then it's like, well, then it doesn't matter that they beat them ranked. It has no meaning. It's all meaningless.
It's true. So what we're going to do is we listed off the top 25, and we're going to say one team that will, in the top 25, that will finish the season unranked, and one team unranked that will finish the season ranked.
All right, I'll go first. I think it's pretty obvious that team will be Iowa. I mean, well, that's just a freebie. That's a freebie. Iowa's not going to be ranked at the end of it. I think also, not that they will be out of it necessarily, but I think Michigan could easily not be top 10.
Well, if they start losing, they have a tough schedule.
They have a very tough schedule, and I could see them falling out pretty quick, being like a mid-20s team, maybe. But I think probably, again, Miami, I'm not convinced until they prove me wrong. Otherwise, I think Miami will not be ranked. And here's my bold prediction. A team that I think will be ranked by the end of the year, your South Florida Bulls. I think it will take them a minute. But I think we can see USF crack the top 25 at some point this year. And that's my bold prediction.
I'm going to go, and my team that I think Miami and Iowa. I agree. I think those are freebies though. I think those are pretty solid. I'm gonna go a little bolder. I think the Oklahoma Sooners. They're ranked 16th right now. First year in the SEC, and I don't think he's going to treat them well. I don't think Brent Venables is a good head coach. I think he's a great coordinator, but not really head coach material. And I think they're going to finish unranked. Their last part of their schedule is very tough. They have LSU, Alabama, Missouri, Ole Miss, 4 out of their last 5 games. I don't see them winning a lot of those games. I think Oklahoma will end the season unranked. And Will, you're going to like this one. I've been labeled as an ACC hater, and that is probably what I am. But I'm pretty high on this one ACC team that is unranked. And that's Virginia Tech Hokies. I like a lot what I see from Kyron Jones. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, and I think the Hokies will end up cracking that top 20. Not just 25,
solid,
top 20.
man. Everybody just hates on them.
Yeah, well, I was backing you up. I was being nice. ACC guy here. Joel?
All right. I'll go. I was gonna go, and I was like, maybe I'll do something else. I'll go NC State unranked. We'll go with them. That's a safe choice. I was thinking about Arizona, but Arizona's schedule is pretty easy. And then I'll stay local. I'll stay in the Central Florida area. UCF will be ranked.
Wow. They got some opportunities in the Big 12.
Come on, man.
It's okay.
You gotta be. I gotta be
Hey,
honest.
this is TB3U. We have to be objective.
It's college football talk, man.
College football talk, baby. So that's it, I think, for our first ever TB3 University episode.
Yeah, you know what? This is gonna be great. We love college football. You can obviously see that we're passionate about it, and we're gonna talk about all the big games, all the highlights, all the biggest drama, and everything surrounding your USF Bulls, your Florida Gators, and your Florida State Seminoles. Make sure you tune in every week and listen to what we have to say, because we're going to be talking about it, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for the support. We're at 2 shows, guys. Maybe, we can keep going. We can get 1 show a day. Have a full week of shows. You never know. So, but again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for listening, and go Bulls.
Comment your Bulls record predictions.